Let justice and peace flow. A groaning earth calls for ecological justice. Dear brothers, sisters, dear friends of Laudato Si Myanmar movement, peace and justice of Christ be with you. On this day of the great mystic and poet of God's creation, St. Francis of Assisi, I send my warm regards and prayers as you celebrate Laudato Si Day in Myanmar. The earth is groaning, suffocated by human greed that wounded her with visceral wounds. Global warming seemed to have arrived already. The burning inferno in parts of Hawaii and Canada and the ferocious floods almost all over the globe shout from the rooftop, "Stop inflicting mortal wounds on Mother Earth. She is the only mother gifted by a generous and all-loving God. Wounding and killing her is a matricide, a crime of such a catastrophic proposition that those who wound her will not live even to regret their suicidal stupidity." Incremental genocide has started in many parts of the world. The rich countries that gleefully live on cannibalizing the resources of the world fail to understand millions are in danger of drought, ceaseless hunger, and death and destruction of millions of years old biodiversity. This ecological injustice has robbed food from the plates of millions of children in poor countries and snatched the merged water from their thirsty mouths. Farmers have lost their seeds and forests have lost their topsoil. Poor countries that have nothing to do with the global warming are strangled with existential crisis of survival. This is a horrendous injustice. Prophet Amos called for a world where justice and peace flow like a river. The modern Amos, Pope Francis, knocked at the conscience of nations with his path-breaking encyclical Laudato Si. The time for action is now. The time for action is now. There is no tomorrow for the children starving in the ecologically destroyed countries. Pope Francis warned in his encyclical, "We are not faced with the two separate crises, one environmental and the other social, but rather one complex crisis which is both social and environmental. A third world war needs to be waged against those few who chose to eat out of the bowels of the poor as they want to go about destroying life-giving biodiversity. Never in history have so many millions suffered for the egoistic enjoyment of a few. I wish your efforts inspire thousands of youth to rise in revolt against all enemies of God who chose to rob God's gift of nature. It is already late for many parts of the world that the supreme sacrifice made by the environmental martyrs in the poor countries rouse our conscience and cry with the angry prophet Amos, "Let environment, justice, and peace flow like a river." May the lover of nature, St. Francis of Assisi, bless your efforts. Thank you, and God bless you all.